Next up, at UFC Louisville, we have a rematch. I didn't mention that this was a rematch last time because we're 5 years removed. I don't think it matters at all. And the odds are interesting because while they opened at -115, they went for Montana as the favorite. The initial line movement had Montana as the favorite here, and then they have now fully flipped, and Andrea Lee is the favorite. I honestly think what happened is the early money came in and said Montana should win this fight. She's a good wrestler. She should win. And that moved the line in her favor. Then people were like, oh, this is a rematch. So then they started betting on Andrea, and that flipped it because Andrea did win the first time they fought. I don't care that this is a rematch. It's not a week ago. It's 5 years ago. It's so many things. So many things have changed since then. But we got Andrea Lee, 13-9, only 1-4 in her last 5. She is on a 4-fight skid. She's taking on Montana De La Rosa, 12-9. 1-3-1 in her last 5. She is riding a 3-fight skid. This is absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, a win or go home wrestling match, or a win or go home striking match, because it is a clash of styles. Andrea Lee is the striker. Montana De La Rosa is the wrestler. Andrea Lee is a very good striker, and she's honestly underrated. Her 4 losses are quality losses. You might look at it and say, oh, her career's fallen off a cliff. But those are good opponents that she's losing to. She's got good technical striking. She can manage range well. And she's also adding wrestling to her game. She had almost 2 takedowns in her fight against Miranda Maverick. Or she did have 2 takedowns in her fight against Miranda Maverick. Her takedown defense could use a little bit of work. That is low at 55%. And she'll need it because she's taking on Montana De La Rosa. She's a tough wrestler. And she's not just an MMA wrestler. She's an actual wrestler. She wrestled in high school. She wrestled the majority of her life and then started fighting. She didn't just decide she wants to fight and then become a wrestler. So, with that being said, I don't think Montana De La Rosa is going to get the wrestling done because she didn't do it in her last fight. She didn't even attempt to take down JJ Aldrich outside of one attempt. And you're not going to beat Andrea Lee in a striking match. So unless I was 100% positive that Montana De La Rosa was all in on the wrestling, I got to go Andrea Lee. I don't care if Montana, let's say she still lost her last fight to JJ Aldrich, but she attempted 20 takedowns. Okay, at least I know that she's going to go all in on her best thing. But she didn't. And she lost, and that exact same game plan against Andrea Lee, she loses again. She needs to go all in on the wrestling. Can't necessarily trust her to do it. Andrea Lee is the pick for those reasons, and just for the record, when I picked her, she was a dog. Dutch. You know what Dutch is, real quick? I don't know if you ever watched The Shield. The Shield is an all-time show, and that detective's name was Dutch. And he's cooler than you. Who do you think wins this fight?
Do you want to try to retell that story and make it somewhat entertaining?
I didn't say it was a story. And if anybody here is watching, we got 300-something people watching right now. If you have seen The Shield, please confirm that it's an all-time show and that Dutch from The Shield
Nobody
is cooler
gives a
than this
flying
Dutch.
fuck.
Yeah, and if you watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia, there's a clip where he does the accent. Like, God damn it, Dutch. It's a good clip. Who do you think wins? Oh, so now we're frustrated with me for telling a 12-second story about a couple of TV shows that are pretty popular. When you're dressed like that, look like that, talking like that, an hour into this shit still, you didn't give it up yet, and you're breaking out in song out of nowhere. Like, it's a gay musical. This has become a gay musical. Please continue.
Angelo, and I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, here it comes. In June of all the months. Go ahead.
Honestly, sometimes no, this is serious, man, because I don't know how you do it. You know what I mean?
Honestly, just do the song. Just do the song.
I don't know how you do it, but I do love the way I lose it every time. What's even better? Knowing that forever you're all mine. Closer you get, the more my body aches. One little stare from you is all it takes. You don't know that one?
No, dude. I don't know.
You don't know I Melt by Rascal Flatts?
I don't think I've ever heard it in my life. Because you're definitely singing it perfectly. So I just don't. It must just be I didn't hear it. Well, why don't you tell us who you think wins this fight?
Listen, this is going to be a close fight. I will tell you this, man. Both these girls, beautiful girls. Andrea Lee, another country girl. And we got another girl named Montana. We got another girl named Montana. So I'll be honest, if my nuts weren't flipped upside down and sideways up inside my asshole breaking down this fight, Angelo, woo! Get up on that horse and take a ride, you know what I mean? Rode hard and put up wet, Angelo. That's what we're all about in this one. But I'll tell you, man, both of these girls are definitely better than the record shows. You got 13-9, Andrea Lee. You got 12-9, Montana De La Rosa. But when you start breaking down and looking who they're losing to, right, these are some pretty high-level people that they're losing to. So I don't want to get into this like both these girls are trash and neither one of these girls are good and blah, blah, blah. A lot of people are going to say that just because of the record. Both these girls are talented girls. And you broke it down perfectly about Montana and that JJ fight. Why didn't we wrestle? Right? And I understand if you want to come in and you want to show off the striking improvements and you have a game plan to use the striking, but hey, guess what? When it's not working, let's go back to the bread and butter, right? Like my mom always said, right? If you want the bread, you got to get the butter. And if you want the butter, you got to turn the butter, right? You're not going to get bread and butter without turning a little bit of butter, Angela. And she should have went to the wrestling in that fight. She didn't, and it ended up costing her. And she's got to go to the wrestling in this one because Andrea Lee's a girl that can get taken down. And if she does not go to the wrestling, I believe Andrea Lee's going to be the better striker. And even if she does go to the wrestling, I believe Andrea Lee can be in a situation where she can defend some takedowns, get back to her feet, right? She's a tough girl. Montana's a tough girl as well. I'm leaning on Andrea Lee here. I don't absolutely love it because if Montana does come in all in wrestling, all of a sudden it's Andrea Lee laying on her back for 15 minutes. But, Andrea Lee's probably the better striker. She probably can, use that spacing, use that footwork to defend those takedowns, but it's probably going to be a close fight, right? And, I'm going to go with Andrea Lee, but it's going to be a little barn burner, man.
Yeah, so we're both on the same side of this fight for the same reason. Montana De La Rosa not shooting takedowns in her last fight. That's basically what this entire thing comes down to. And it's a shame because I mentioned she's a real wrestler. She's not an MMA wrestler, and that's not a slight, but there are people who started wrestling when they started fighting. And there's some people that are very good at it. Notably, Georges St. Pierre was out-wrestled phenomenal wrestlers. But he learned it, stuck with it, used it. Montana had it, used it, and has not been using it. And that is going to be the difference here
if you don't use it, sometimes you lose it.
Yeah, yours is on the floor somewhere. We do have interesting odds here. Just the last 6 inches. I'll never forget this.
Say that again now. Go say that a little bit louder. Enunciate. You said something about what?
The last 6 inches. Congratulations. Here's a couple quick bathroom things. One.
Do you want to take these girls off the slide while you're talking dirty?
This isn't dirty. This is just funny. I was in the men's room. I was at a work conference all week. Oh, I was in a men's room, and somebody walks in and goes, "Is this where all the dicks hang out?" or something like that? Dickheads hang out? Like something like that. Whatever. And then it just triggered a thought. It just reminded me of a time. This was like in college. My buddy and I were in the airport. We were flying to Vegas. And it's just me and him in the bathroom. And then some like old guy at the end. And I go, we're standing
I'm bored already.
We're standing at the urinals. I go, this water is cold. And we're snickering because it's funny. Like, oh, your dick's so big.
You were sitting there telling jokes and talking to a guy standing next to you at a urinal? Is that what I'm understanding right now? No, he was like 4
urinals over, so I just said that.
Story changes pretty quick, right?
And the best part is
Who talks to another man at a urinal?
The best part is the old man, like way at the end. So I go, this water's cold. And the old man goes, and deep. And it was awesome. I was cracking up laughing. It was absolutely fantastic. That old man's the best. And if you want to be the best, you want to get the best bets and the best picks and the best tools and the best website, just go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. At the top, it's only $10 an entire month.
You go, I bet you go pants to the ankles when you're at the urinal, do you not?
like a little Billy, like a little kid. Little kids love it.
That wasn't a no.